but you kind of like blew up into the business making videos with your friends on the internet.
Kyle Mooney, Beck Bennett, Dave McCary was like the filmmaker, shot, edited, and like directed stuff. SNL came knocking, and we all auditioned for SNL. Beck and Kyle got it, of course.
Half of the group got like called up to SNL.
It was like devastating. I remember like doing shows and just like going behind the theater and just like falling. And then just like slamming Malibu rum and being like, gotta get back on the stage. Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. It was the worst.
Did that change your friendship with those guys?
I'd like to begin with a fact.
So deep.
Welcome to the show. This is Deep Noodle. My name is Nathaniel August Williams, and we have a fantastic show for you today. My guest is an actor. He's a comedian. He's a writer. Best known as a founding member of the sketch group Good Neighbor, and for his work on Saturday Night Live and Rick and Morty. And he's currently working on the animated series Krapopolis. Welcome to the show, Nick Rutherford.
Thank you for having me, Nate. Do you prefer Nathaniel? Is that the podcast persona?
Literally every single person I have on this show said they're like, oh, Nathaniel.
Oh, we were talking about this. I'm going to the Renaissance Fair for the first time in a couple weeks.
Yes,
and I heard that the name of the game for that is LSD.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa, that is a high. Yeah. That's more serious supplement. Than I
don't know. Maybe not. Maybe a half tab, but
yeah. Nothing crazy. You're not going 10 strip.
No, 10 strip. Yeah, so you could still like dip back down to earth and order a beer from some woman who's going to berate you for 5 minutes.
Yes,
and then
in character though.
In character, yeah.
It's kind of a like swingers hookup scene. I've heard. Is that true?
I don't know. I got the same vibe though from everybody I know who goes every year.
Yeah,
I went to a Ren Fair
You're
wedding.
Just like tripping and and sucking.
It's like
it's like a LSD fueled orgy.
I think so, and everybody's in like bustiers and
swinging swords
and, like,
around,
skirts and capes. I think it's a real horny
battle
place.
Axes. Yeah.
But also, I feel like it's become it's not just like elves and knights and wizards. It's like I feel like there's people. It's just like straight up cosplay now, so there'll be just like a Gumby walking around.
Oh, cosplay beyond.
Yeah, I don't think it's even in the fantasy realm.
Oh, yeah. You're gonna have like Hello Kitties.
Yeah, I think
stuff.
so.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe they're shamed, but that's just what I've heard. Is like it's pretty loose. It's like you don't want to show up in civilian clothes, but whatever you wear kind of doesn't matter. But like you just don't want to be in like khakis and a polo shirt. But like, you could go as a Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, cool, man.
Cool.
I think, yeah.
Oh,
you need some effort.
That is news to me. I did not know that. So
I guess I'll test it
it's like
out.
Halloween.
I think so.
Kind of a little bit.
But maybe I'm extrapolating that because my friend went as Shrek last year and was a big hit.
But Shrek has
is kind of in the fantasy
of a
world.
Period.
Yeah.
So be careful.
Yeah.
So if you go as Ghostbusters, you're going to want to go as like medieval Ghostbusters.
Right. Which probably, or like Gem in the Hologram.
You'd have like a wand in your backpack.
Oh,
that would
fun.
be your your
my
ghost.
proton wand.
Yeah, proton wand. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they love cross. If you cross over,
that's I think you could cross mogenate it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Which one are you going to? Is there a big one in Los Angeles?
I think there's one that's here, like at one. It's the one you see advertised, the Renaissance Pleasure Fair, and we don't need the pleasure part in there. We get it.
Yeah, I was to say that hints to the debaucherous orgies.
It does the Pleasure Fair. Yeah, I know it's a really horny spot from what I know. The only other time I went, years and years ago, I worked as a teenager. I worked at Domino's Pizza, and my older employee buddy got married. Invited me to his wedding at a Renaissance fair because him and his wife were really into it. And so I like camped out overnight at a Renaissance fair. And it was, I was like 18 probably.
Yeah.
But it was, you could tell there was a lot of rustling going on in tents.
I thought you were going to say that the Domino's is really horny.
Domino's is just stoned. Yeah. Domino's is just high. It's like the cliches fully exist.
Yeah.
I was high the whole time driving around Thousand Oaks.
I feel like this is a good transition, and we should talk a little bit about your career because it's such an amazing, great career. One that makes me feel horrible about myself all the time. But I think one super cool thing about your journey, it seems to me, is you kind of, I know you were a child actor for a little while, yeah?
I was,
But you kind of like blew up into the business doing something that I think is like a lot of people's absolute fantasy, which is like making videos with your friends on the internet and then sort of like blowing up into a sort of like a Hollywood. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I know it feels so organic, and I guess it is like, there's plenty of examples of it, but I just met like the right people. We all were like simpatico comedy wise in college.
Yeah.
And I want to say Lonely Island was like on the air at the time. So I don't think SNL was like the explicit goal. We were just like, there's a real market and audience online.
Mm-hmm.
So we should do videos and like tour. That was the initial plan, is we were going to just tour, hopefully do colleges and put videos online and do like a hybrid sketch show that would be live action sketches. And then we'd play a video while we changed into our next silly costumes.
Oh,
and that's what we did for a while, actually.
And so this is just to set the tone. This is your sketch group, Good Neighbor.
Yeah, this is Good Neighbor.
Yeah, it's Kyle Mooney,
Beck Bennett, Dave McCary was like the filmmaker, shot, edited, and like directed stuff, and then me. We started early on. We all like lived together out of college.
Did you meet in college?
We met in college.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Beck, Kyle, and I met in an improv troupe. So we all auditioned for this improv group, basically our freshman year.
Nice.
Like a campus improv troupe. And the three of us got in together. So we like very naturally were like the freshmen, the newbies in this group. So we became like fast buds and then just really got along. Eventually, by senior year, we were all living together. And then it was like, what do we do when we graduate? Well, let's make videos and travel. Originally, it was let's make videos and then travel the United States on a bus, on a camper bus that we convert to biodiesel, because we'll never have to buy gas. We'll just go to Chinese restaurants and ask for their spent peanut oil. Yeah, like that was, I was big into that. I was really big into converting.
I love those ideas. Yeah.
And then more
the central part to their
it was
touring.
it was a green, like they would be great. All these liberal colleges would bring us in. We're like the green neighbors.
Yeah.
And we never manifested the bus, but we did do quite a few like college shows and like little bar shows, and we were hustling and hanging up posters like the night of, and like we would perform for 6 people.
Where are you? What city? Or
that was Boston.
Boston, okay.
We did a bunch in New York, Brooklyn. We did like Kansas City. I forget where, like Wisconsin, San Diego, the Bay Area. It was really, we kind of had a viral video that kind of put us on the map, and then we literally cold emailed. We had our manager, who was one of our roommates, this guy named Patrick, who literally lived on my floor of my bedroom on a mattress. And he was our manager, and he would cold email schools and be like, hey, these guys have X amount of views, and Adam McKay said this about them on Funny or Die, and they're doing this sketch show. And like, it kind of worked. We booked like a handful of shows.
Yeah. He just created like management company emails for himself.
It was really scrappy, and it was great. And so we did that forever, and that got enough attention, and we were pretty precious about what we put out. So we didn't really ever become like full YouTubers, like vlogging and everything. And but it was the Wild Wild West. It was great. And then from
what year are we talking about? Around about?
This would have been like 2006 or 7 was when we started.
Yeah.
And then I want to say 4 years into it, we got picked up by this basically YouTuber company called Maker Studio, which I don't know if they're still around.
Yeah, I know. I'm familiar with Maker. I don't know if I should like wrote for them. They had they had a channel that was a talking dog, like a husky, like a living human live action dog, not human, but live
like
action
living,
dog.
breathing.
Yeah, and it would just like
they did like peanut butter.
It would be like, I mean, it sounded like a horrific nightmare demon. But this dog would be like, I love you. Like it would be like,
I love dogs talking.
That's exactly right. Yeah, just like a horrific screeching, and they're like, "You hear him? He said I love you."
Right.
And they brought me and another writer in to like write sketches for the dog to like pitch.
Fun. God, I wonder who that was.
Yeah,
I wonder if we work with the same people.
I'm sure. Yeah, but anyway, yes, I'm familiar with Maker. I don't know if they're still around.
I don't know either. But then we were in this like scrappy like production company with all these young YouTubers, and we had like. We brought our friends in, so they became like producers. So we would say like, oh, we want to do this video about, a silly video about, I don't know, like a waiter crashed into a beehive.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, no problem. We'd have like a production team. And like, it was like really great. It was, I mean, there was some frustrations with it, of course.
Sure.
And then, from there, Beck and I pitched a show to Fox ADHD, and then they didn't pick up the show, but they picked me up as like a writer. So then I was like writing cartoons. And then shortly after, SNL came knocking, and we all auditioned for SNL. Beck and Kyle got it, of course. And then a year later, I got hired as a writer.
Yeah.
And then a year later, I got fired as a writer. And then, but it was, I kind of just all came from Good Neighbor, like giving us a voice and like a platform and making us visible.
Yeah.
And we broke. But I also think we were in a really sweet spot.
You're right.
Like it was a good, I don't know. I'm not really that in tune with internet sketch comedy now, but I don't know. I don't know. People still, you could do it alone. Now it's like totally cool to just film yourself and have a piece of paper that says priest, or, like now it's like lo-fi is the way to go. Like,
right.
So you can just do it all yourself with just a phone, and almost the crappier it is, like quality production wise, is almost better.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say like it's impossible to do now. Like it's just changed.
It's different, right? Maybe it's TikTok or something.
Yeah,
like
it's
that,
like TikTok or shorter form. We were always trying to make these like beautiful little shorts, like little films.
Right. Well, that was, I mean, at that time, I was watching some of your sketches the other day, doing my research for this big, interview. All hilarious, very funny. But it did bring me back to that time where it was like, I think people forget, like in 2006, it was really hard to put stuff on video. Like that was not like an easy, like the cameras were like, no one had cameras in their phones. Like you had to have a camera, you had to know how to edit. The cameras were really expensive. It was sort of like the film to digital transition had just happened in like 2000, basically.
Yeah, and it was still a little pricey.
So it was super pricey, and like sound and like the editing programs weren't good. It wasn't like there was all this DaVinci Resolve and free editing. Like it was like really hard to. I mean, you could do it with like camcorders a little bit, but it was still like very difficult to make films. And I think that helped the people that were able to create content consistently.
Yeah, it certainly. I mean, we were lucky too, because we met at USC and we were still living by USC when we started doing all this stuff.
Nice.
And so we would just sneak into film labs.
Oh,
we could like walk, or really we biked or skateboarded, but we could walk to this like state of the art film lab, and we would just smoke cigarettes outside until an actual student would sign in, and then we would just follow them in. And we would go into this like lab that would have the most top of the line Mac like towers, just 20 of them in a room. And so Dave and I would go there and like edit all day. We needed that access. And we didn't have a computer. We didn't have laptops.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there was.
You're like heisting your way into
exactly.
Bump.
I mean, that's what they wanted, that's like, isn't that what the school wants? Like, hey, we went to USC. Look at us.
Yeah. But you were graduated?
We were graduated. Yeah. No, we weren't allowed to be in there.
They want your tuition.
They want your tuition. Yeah. They got it. They got plenty of it. They're doing okay. But you're right. Cause I think the iPhone came out in 2006. So the first they had camera phones, but they didn't have 4K.
No, you were not doing great video. It was all very rudimentary. Yeah. I remember how hard it was to create, because it felt like you were actually, it was a lot easier than film, obviously, which is impossible. No one could afford film or anything. So, but it was just like on the other side of the fence from it. It was like you were trying to replicate everything everyone was doing on film cameras with like digital things.
I mean, I remember they would have, like, I shot a buddy's short film for their school, and they had a device that was like this piece of dirty, like a dirty filter, like a lens filter, and it was on a motor, so it was spinning to give a film grain aesthetic to digital.
Totally.
It's literally like, this is like Charlie Chaplin shit. Like there's a little guy spinning a wheel to like add dirt to your lens.
And if you forgot to turn it on, you just got a really bad.
And this was like, this is going to really set us apart.
Oh, because exactly. It was like 24p is what everyone
24p.
wanted.
You wanted 24p.
But everything shot in 30p. And so it looked like a soap opera. So everything looked like soap operas. It looked like video cameras. And you're like, how do we get this to look like film? And it was all these weird workarounds and hacks. We used to edit on a program called Speed Edit, which would just crash all the time and erase your whole project, like hours of work. Like it really was hard to.
But like as a kid, when I was like a young teenager, did you like ever get involved in public access? Cause they had like studio shit.
No, I wish.
Oh, I totally got into it.
That would have been fun.
I was too young to do it. So I made my mom, we had to take like how to wrap cable class together. We had to take like the classes that the city of Thousand Oaks offered in order to take their equipment and rent it out. So me and my mom are in like AV classes. She had to be there as like an adult.
Right.
Yeah. And then I would just rent out like broadcast TV cameras and do little shows. I was like into it.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. I grew up in Ohio, and I'm not even sure that I don't even know they would even. Yeah, I don't know that. Maybe I didn't look hard enough. But
I mean, truly
public access.
Yeah, because it must.
Does it exist? Because I think it's just YouTube. I think YouTube is public, right?
But I think the reason public access exists because back in the day they were like, okay, if it's like the television studios as a public service had to provide these, so they were like paid for by pub because it was like you're using our airwaves. So as a public service, you have to give public access to the airwaves. I think it's like,
interesting.
I mean, who knows now? But it feels like it still is there, like skating below the radar.
Right. Yeah.
I bet you there's a public access
with like
program.
their 25-year-old cameras.
I wonder, or it's like IMAX 3D. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you know, like, or it's like, holy shit, like this is incredible.
That's right.
I don't know. That would be something to look into.
Yeah. Virtual reality cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Because I love a public service. I mean, we don't have to get in the weeds on this, but the Glendale Public Library apparently has like a full not maker studio, but a full like makers studio with like very powerful 3D printers.
Really?
Yeah, and it's just free.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm into public service.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's great. You're
going to get into it because you got to take your kid to all these things.
100%. The library does do a really good like story hour. He's super young still, so we're just starting to get him into these kind of things. Right. But yeah, we've heard some good stuff at the library.
Yeah.
Which sketch was it that blew you guys up?
It was honestly a sketch that kind of broke our format. It was always just the three of us being Beck, Nick, and Kyle, and it was like surreal and weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then some news came out. At the time, Britney Spears' younger sister, who was like 16, was pregnant, and it was huge news. And it was a holiday, and Beck and Kyle were back home, and it was just Dave and I in our house that we all lived in. And we were like, we should shoot a TMZ style video of, we'll cast a little girl in like Rodeo Drive, and we'll shoot a paparazzi style video of like, we're talking to pregnant Jamie Lynn to get the scoop, and it's like a 4-year-old girl.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so we found this really cute, precocious girl on like Craigslist, and her mom was down, and she was super adorable, and like just everything kind of lined up. We shot this thing, and it turned out really well. And then it went viral on like Perez Hilton, like that celebrity gossip site from back in the day.
Hilton. Yeah.
And it got like 4 million views overnight, and like Dave and I were freaking out. Like this is the one video that is not a good neighbor video. It's like pop culture. It doesn't include us on camera at all. It's like super topical. Like that was none of our shit, and it like just popped. And that is kind of what put a bunch of eyes on the real stuff we were doing.
Gotcha. Blew the site up.
It blew the site up a little bit, but you'd be surprised. Like I did the math on it. Because you could tell on YouTube, it'd be like, this video got 4 million views. And then from that, you could tell who visited the page, like who clicked on Good Neighbor account. Like, what else are these guys into?
Yeah.
And it was like, from 4 million views, it was like 1,000 people. I swear to God, it was like 0.01% of people who go, I love that video. That's hilarious. Go, what else is going on? Otherwise, they're just like next. Yeah. It's like so disheartening. Like,
totally.
We impressed you. We got your attention. You're like, what else? What else?
Yeah.
I'm bored now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But it was enough. It was enough to like kind of make a mark and put us on the map.
Yeah. It's just such a interesting. I think your origin story feels like the origin story that everyone wants to have, right? It's just like me and my buddies. We met in college. We were like in a thing together. We started doing videos afterwards. It took off. We had a big break, and then all of a sudden, like Hollywood notices. You know what I mean? It's such a like kind of like storybook.
It's cute.
Yeah, but also just sort of like it almost. I think it almost feels like, does this really happen? You know what I mean? Like if it wasn't you, if it didn't happen to you, I think it would be like, well, that's just like a fantasy that.
No, I know, but I think it happens often.
Like, I would say often.
Well, I don't know how often it does, but like I'm trying to think of. I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends how we have a very cute, like scrappy. We all lived in a house and made videos on the weekends.
Yeah, it's
and
like
worked
how
our
Grateful Dead came together. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
but also like, isn't that like Steve Jobs and like, totally. I don't know what Tracy Morgan did before like SNL, but I bet he was just like, I just was funny with my friends. Like, yeah. I don't know. I bet, that's nice. I just. It is a fun fantasy.
It's a cool,
but it can happen. I think it happens a lot. Well, I say that because to encourage people to pursue it, not to say like it's common or it's not special.
Yeah. How important do you think it is to like, what was the relationship like artistically between all you guys? Did you agree on all the choices? Was it easy to kind of like, were your sensibilities all the same?
I think when we were all on the same page is when everything was the best. But that was all, I mean, I think with any group that's the challenge, like
for sure.
I think there was little factions like Dave and Kyle definitely they grew up together and were like best friends from like second grade or third grade. So they had, a stronger connection. Beck and I,
and then went to college together.
Yeah, they went to college together and stuff.
Yeah,
so they had been together for they knew each other's sensibilities really, really well. And Beck and I got along really well too. So we kind of had like a 2 and 2. Not that it was ever antagonistic, but there was always kind of an even vote.
Right.
But yeah, it was always we would meet regularly and pitch ideas, and it was always kind of a struggle to get everybody on the same page. And when we did, it was magical. And when we didn't, we could be convinced like, okay, I don't see it, but we'll go through it. And and there's certainly, we have a handful of videos that we shot, edited, and just never put out.
Right.
So, like it didn't always work. And
right. And so when you guys, what was the transition from just being guys making awesome videos on YouTube to like doing a show on Comedy Central or whatever? Like, did an agent come knocking, or how did that, what was the jump?
Yeah, it was, I don't remember how the agent came knocking, but yeah, it was probably, it was certainly after that viral video.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this management company, Generate, came. This was kind of in the age of web series.
Right. Yeah.
And there was YouTube, but it wasn't as big. And there was a whole bunch of them. There was Funny or Die. There was Crackle. There was like heavy.com.
Yeah.
Vimeo was still kind of trying to be like a sharing platform. There was a bunch of them.
Right.
Super something. Anyway, there was so many. So like a lot of that computer lab was us uploading multiple versions to 9 different websites.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and just see where they would pop.
Uh-huh.
So they brought us in, and I think we were internet guys. So they saw us as internet guys, and then would be like, we're going to sell web series with you. And then we like developed a web series, and we sold it, and it never aired. And then, I don't remember how
it was like a management company just sort of found you somehow. Through your roommate manager who was booking your college tour.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I'm sure when that happened, that was like heartbreaking for him. It was like,
totally.
Well, you're a child, you don't have any experience or an office, and you live on Nick's floor. So we're gonna go with the guy who reps Mark Maron.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah,
he wanted to be on the rocket ship.
Right.
It was the first jettisoned. That's tough.
Yeah.
Okay, so the web series era, very interesting. You're kind of in the web hybrid world. You pitch a show, kind of moves up. You guys got a Comedy Central show that didn't go, right? Or it was gonna go, but then the SNL thing happened?
Yeah,
or what was
we had we got money from Comedy Central to shoot like a proof of concept.
Gotcha, like a pilot.
Yeah, a pilot. But they gave us $50,000.
Right, which is not enough. If people don't know about money.
That is not enough.
For sure.
Yeah, especially because my fee at the time was $49,000.
Yeah.
So we had $1,000 to put on screen.
Yeah.
It just wasn't enough. I don't know why. I guess they just wanted to see like what we were going to do. And it was a very weird show. This exists somewhere. We should really just like get together. Not you and I, but me and the guys. And you could be there.
Thanks.
I should like do a screening of it one day. Because I wonder if it holds up. But it was like us doing a show in our house. It was like us doing a late night show, and it had surreal like happenings in it.
Was it a sketch format, like sketch? Or
kind of. It was more of a narrative where it was like the three of us doing like, hey, we're like, if we were just in real life doing a show out of our house.
Gotcha.
So it was like, we're doing a show, and then like Kyle would like get sad about something, but like would play with his toys, and then he would go into a fantasy world where he's like one of the toys. So it was like this surreal late night show, very, very loose, that would have these wild tangents, very like Good Neighbors sketch.
Right.
And we shot over a couple of weeknights and some weekend in LA, and then we delivered it to them, and they were like, Comedy Central was like, this is very weird.
Yeah.
They're like, this is really weird. We don't really know what to do with this.
Yeah.
But we like you guys, and this proves that you can make something. So we're going to give you more money to shoot an hour special.
Oh, nice.
That could be so we're going to air it. It could be whatever you want it to be. It can be, whatever, really.
Yeah.
So rethink it. It could be this. You can reshoot this, and then we're going to air it. And then if it's great, we can maybe turn it into a series.
Gotcha.
So we were in the process of that. We were meeting with like showrunners who would like kind of help foster that along when we all auditioned. And then like they got it found out with weeks later. And then it was just like, deal was gone. Yeah.
So that is a really interesting thing too. So like half of the group got like called up to SNL. Yeah. What was that like for you guys? Like, was that I have to imagine that would have been a little, because you didn't know, because you came on a year lator to be a writer.
Right.
But did you know that was going to happen? Like that must have been a kind of hard.
No, it was like devastating.
Yeah.
It
right?
was like, I just like changed therapists to get back to therapist. And we were talking about that. And he was like, I feel like there's still a wound here. And I was like, maybe there is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like, I was like emasculated. I really took a hit there. I was working at this Fox job. So it's like, I went back to like a great group of people I'm still friends with. and just got to work,
That's
so if
great.
I was
that's probably the healthiest.
if I went back to like delivering pizzas, it would have been I would have been heartbroken. But yeah, it was really rough. Like all three, Dave went as a director for their shorts, Kyle and Beck went as performers, and they were like, period. So I was like,
dude,
devastated, and like the Lonely Island guys like took me out like shortly after to kind of just like walk me off a ledge to be like, don't worry, this is what he does. Like it was really. It was a tough. I actually was at like a comedy festival when I found out, and I was like not even home. I was in like up north at a like performing stand up at a festival. I remember like doing shows and just like going behind the theater and just like bawling, and then just like slamming Malibu rum and being like, gotta get back on the stage. Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. It was the worst.
Terrible.
It was really because you're like, oh, this is us, and now it's not us. And yeah. But not whatever. I'm doing fine. So I hate to be. I want
for
sympathy,
sure. But
it sucked.
A moment. Well, I mean, I think it's a good lesson in like having really tough things happen to you in your career and sort of being able to like push through and not like, walk off the ledge or whatever. It's just
certainly.
like things are going to happen that are going to feel like the end of the world, and they're not. But like in that moment, it's a crushing. Did that change your friendship with those guys? Because you were so close. Like, were they?
I mean, it did, just because very naturally they were thrown in the other side of the country and in an incredibly like high stakes, stressful job. Yeah. So now there's this gap,
and they're just focusing on that. Obviously,
you're in the weeds. Like my first year, my only year there, like you barely come up for air. You're just like trying to survive. You're trying to figure out what it is. I mean, we're all still very close now. Yeah. So, and it's not like we had a falling out or anything. It's just like by distance, space, and like what we were both doing, it just was harder.
Yeah. It can't not change.
Yeah.
A relationship.
Yeah.
So then you get called up, the next year, it sounds like, right? To go write on the show. What I've heard about writing on the show, it's the very like pressure cooker environment. It's like, it's pretty stressful. Also because you're churning out a show. I mean, I think all the sketches are written by Wednesday night, right? Or something like that. And then you have
Wednesday's the table read, and then you just start rehearsing them Thursday.
So rehearsing, right? And there's a dress rehearsal and so you're writing like sketches that are going to go on national television in like 3 days or whatever, right? So like, it just seemed like, but what was your experience like? Was it?
I mean, it's really hard. It's so fun. The show. You like, New York loves the show. New Yorkers love the show.
Right.
Like any cab you're in, it's on the TV. Like last week's sketches are on the TV.
Yeah.
I was doing stand up at the time. So like if you go up on stage and you're an SNL writer, people like lean forward and like, oh, this is interesting. And if you're go out to a bar and somebody asks you, what do you do? And you're like, oh, right. And they go, for what? SNL. Like everybody, you feel very cool.
Yeah.
Everybody's very happy to have you around. Yeah. You're also terrified and depressed all the time. I had like suicide dreams.
Oh no.
I lived on the 10th floor of this building. I had a little balcony, and I had suicide dreams almost weekly, where I eventually like started pushing furniture up against my balcony door.
No kidding.
Yeah. I was like, and I was never suicidal, but I would just have dreams where like I would like ghost walk, slide open the door, and just walk up to the ledge and just like, wee, and like be happy as I was falling down.
Right.
But
just because the pressure is so
the pressure, it's like, it was the highest highs and the lowest lows. Like if you got your sketch into dress, if your sketch is going to dress, you're like in fucking heaven. Yeah. And you're meeting with all these incredible like people and artists who are like, this is the hair people and this is the set people. And you're like with them at their drafting tables, and you're making a ski lift. And how are we going to make an actual functional ski lift? And like, if it spins around, then they can jump off. It's like fucking rad. And like the best people at their jobs are there. And the costume designers are like, we're thinking this. And you're like, oh yeah, more tassels. Like, it's the best. And you're doing this all week, and you got a sketch on, and you're like, and you're wearing a suit most of the time, and it's fucking great. And you're working in 30 Rock. You're in the fucking middle of Manhattan. Yeah. It's fucking rad. And people love that you work on the show. And then it's like Saturday dress rehearsal. It crushes. The sketch crushes like to the dress rehearsal. You're like, hell yeah. And then you go into Lauren's office, and it's moved from the on the show area to the cut sketches area. And like, you want to fucking snap your neck in half and just never be seen by anybody alive again. It's like, it's then you're just rock bottom. It's like it's like this roller coaster.
Right. Like you can't, does it feel like, oh, I've got to, like, this is my chance to, like, I'm at the, you know what I mean? Like, this is like this has to work or I'm done.
It does. Like you start to do that, which I imagine what like college players do, like their senior year. They're like, I need a good game. Yeah. But like I started pretty strong. I had a sketch on the very, very first show. So I was like, easy, this is great.
Yeah,
and then
this
it was
is-
probably
yeah.
like 4 shows with nothing on. And we
Right.
would do a Good Neighbor video every week, but they rarely made it to air because they were always so
Uh-huh.
weird. So they'd always go on YouTube, and I always just felt like you guys didn't even want me here to begin with. So like, you don't even see me as
Right.
part of this. Like I'm on the fucking chopping block again.
Oh,
So you do
interesting,
that
yeah.
math. You're always doing that math. I need a win. Which writer should I collaborate with? Because we need to get something on the air. And yeah, you're just constantly
Yeah.
always and then these like this scrutiny and you're playing these mind games with yourself. And I think by design, the show wants that.
Interesting.
So like it's like you're doing it right if you're miserable, you know? And if you're enjoying yourself, people are kind of like, why is he having such a good time? Like, what
Yeah.
is I don't know. It's a bizarre like pressure cooker that's
Yeah.
terrifying and wonderful and like joyful and within the worst experience of my life. It's all of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an entire entertainment career condensed into a
Yeah. But it is like, you know, I mean, it's cool. People love talking about it.
Yeah.
I have a much more respect of the show having been on it because it is magical. Like
Yeah.
and I mean, I kind of like pressure cookers. Like I remember like I have a sketch on with Michael Keaton and something getting cut like minutes before air. And I'm like, have to run down underneath the bleachers and tell the guys who are making the cue cards, like checking the cue cards, make sure they cut the lines. And we're going through cue card by cue card, like great. Running into Keaton's like dressing room and with a script that I've got scribbles on. And I'm like, Keaton, we're not doing the first monologue. Okay. And he's like looking at it as he's getting a wig applied. Like, okay,
Yeah.
then we're going that. And he's like, okay, good. I got it. You got it? Okay, great. And then you run out and then it's like, and air. And then he walks on and then like, you just hope everything goes and it fucking goes.
Yeah.
And it's and you're standing on the studio and there's audience around you.
Yeah.
It's magic.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
definitely soaked it up at the time. I don't feel like I have any regrets of it, but like
Yeah.
I miss that. I wish it might just kill me today because we're talking a decade ago.
Yeah.
But like I do miss the energy of that. Like
For sure.
yeah, you're
for
just
sure.
like running on fumes. I think I had a Fitbit or something, or maybe just my phone. But like on show day, like Saturdays, I would walk 15 miles just within like 30 Rock,
like within
going
the
from
office
department to
building,
department.
like,
Yeah, just
oh
going
my
from like
God.
props to this guy to this guy. Like
That's
yeah,
insane.
yeah.
15 miles.
yeah, 15 miles.
It was like
way-
running a marathon
Yeah,
or like
yeah,
almost
exactly.
a marathon. Every
just like running around. Yeah, it's fun. It's a good workout.
Man, that is crazy. Yeah. What a well, like it sounds like it wouldn't like could you have kept it up for like 5 years? I mean, it sounds like it would have killed you to like
I don't know. I think you would have settled in at some point because you
Yeah,
look at
yeah.
Keenan, who was there for God knows 17 years by that time. I don't know, probably not that long, but he was there, settled, and had like a lot of tenure.
Yeah.
And he's the funniest guy, and he's the secret weapon. And if you need your sketch to make it on, you just put Keenan in it. Like
right.
everybody knows that, and he knows that. So in his like Tuesday writer nights, he would come and like pitch a couple ideas, hang out with like funny writers, work till like 2, and then go home and hang with his family.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm there till like I would write till from like 3 p.m. on Tuesday night till Wednesday 1 p.m. and then I would sleep for 2 hours in my office and then go to the table read.
Whoa.
And I'm white knuckling the whole time, and I'm chain smoking Parliament lights in my office.
So you're working just like days in a row. You're at that office,
it would be like
just like
straight
sleeping in the
40
office.
hours of like writing, just not healthy.
No.
No, and I mean the smoking
No.
would have cut me down for sure.
Yeah,
because you're
yeah.
just constantly chain smoking in that place.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, insane, crazy. Yeah. One of those things you'll tell your grandkids about.
Yeah.
Almost certainly.
And they'll be
yeah.
like, they'll have like like Oculus implants, and they'll be like,
let me,
they'll be like terraforming Mars and like, shut up, dinosaur.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Did you make it on screen for any? I mean, you were
I
in the
did.
videos.
I
Oh, you
did. I had
yeah.
a couple of video cameos and a couple of like sketch weird things that were just embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like I was like dressed as a monkey in one. I remember one of them. I don't think the sketch made it to air, but I was a monkey. It was like a cash cage sketch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so one of the prizes was like, oh, you didn't get the cash, but you get a monkey. And like the guy's like, I can't take care of a monkey. And they're like, well, you have to. And then they like lead out like a chimpanzee, and I was the monkey. But for like the dress rehearsal, they were just like, just do it without the monkey suit on. I think like Kyle's leading me out on a literal leash. And Lauren is never really on the floor for these rehearsals, but somehow he was there today. And so I'm like walking out like a monkey, just like in my daily writer clothes,
right.
like hanging by a leash and just being an idiot. And I see like Lauren walk by and like kind of look at me and cross his arms and like smirk a little bit and then turn and walk away. I was like, this guy, he's like, make Nick the monkey.
Yeah.
Yes. He was like, oh man, he got me again.
Got me. Yeah.
God.
This was Chris Kattan doing his monkey bit at this time?
No, he was gone.
That was gone by then.
He was
Okay,
gone.
yeah.
This was like
Mr.
post,
Peepers.
yeah, Mr. Peepers.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are my favorites.
Those are great.
Yeah,
those
just
are
like
so
wild physicalities.
Yeah, yeah.
Give him a big apple and have him just rip it apart.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.
Very good stuff.
My claim, I did some background work for Saturday Night Live.
Oh yeah.
And my pinnacle moment, I had two pinnacle moments. One was Justin Timberlake handed me a flyer, and I was like, got to like thank him. You know what I mean? As I like did a cross in one sketch.
His dick's in a box.
His dick is in a box. It was those years.
Right.
Might have been that episode. And then I got punched in the face by Andy Samberg in a digital short.
Oh wow!
Once, yeah. So that was my SNL peak SNL experience.
I didn't know they had the same pool of like background artists from the live show and the digital shorts.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
You know, we really,
if you're good,
if you
bring you
if
back.
you're to the top of the background.
Yeah. If you're good, they bring it back. That's fun.
It was cool to be in that studio though. I mean, you know, I
Yeah.
was like doing improv in New York and I was a young actor, and just to like get to walk into 30 Rock.
It's pretty magical.
Into that studio. Yeah, it is very magical. And you're sort of like, it's a story. Storied halls.
I get like butterflies even now, like when because they don't show you before the show airs, and they have a warm up, and it's like Keenan and like other cast members from like, I think my year was like Sashir and Cecily and maybe Vanessa, and they're literally singing like Rolling on the River. It's like a fucking talent show, but the band is like bam, 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 and it's like Keenan like rocking it, and they all can sing. They're all incredibly talented, so it's like they're literally in like flapper dresses singing Rolling on the River to like juice the audience up. And when you hear that, you know, like, okay, we're like 5 minutes till fucking showtime, and you just get like so gassed up.
I bet, man. I bet the adrenaline must be insane.
It's
just
great.
like going live in front of 9 million people or whatever.
I feel like I don't think this is on the table for me at all, but I would do it for like another year.
Yeah.
Because now, like knowing what I know, it's like, get me in, put me in. Just give me a year. I'm not going to stick around. Like, just give me the shitty starter's salary. Like, I don't even have to make much. I just want that, like,
the juice.
Yeah, I want that juice.
I need the juice.
Yeah.
The juice is the squeeze.
Yeah.
The squeeze is the juice. What's the line from Heat? I can't remember.
They should do, you know, Survivor does like all-star episode. They should do an all-star season of Saturday Night Live.
That's a great idea.
They should like wipe the cast and take like one for, and, you know, they can come back. I'm not criticizing anybody, but
and if your sketch gets cut, you're eliminated from the
that's
or
terrible.
something like that. Yeah, just like
I can't believe
ratchet
they
up.
haven't done that.
Yeah.
Now they will.
I was gonna say,
not them, but I can't believe that hasn't been done in general. Like,
like a reality Survivor style sketch show.
Yeah, they did like Last Comic Standing, of course.
Yeah,
but
like a big talent. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, and then you did a show, Dream Corp LLC.
Yeah.
Which is such a cool. And you did like 3 seasons.
We did 3 seasons. That was kind of the saving grace. The day I got back from New York, I was not fired yet, but the day I got back, I had done this pilot the year before. I just auditioned for the show and got cast, and we did this 15-minute pilot for Adult Swim.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this bizarre, like sci-fi office medical comedy. Absurd.
Very absurd.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
And I literally landed, went to my buddy's house, and
it was John Grease.
Yeah, it's Grise. John Grise like flies. That's what he said.
Grise like flies.
John Grise like flies.
Famous from White Lotus.
Yeah, now it's
Napoleon Dynamite,
Uncle Rico. Yeah, now he's like the villain of White Lotus.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Great dude. And I basically found out that the show had gotten picked up when I landed. I'd landed in LA, and like hours later, Danny Stessen, the guy who created Dream Corp, called me and was like, "We got picked up. We're doing like 6 episodes. I want you to help me write them all, and I want you were a guest star, but you're going to be in all of them now."
Oh, fantastic!
And I was like, "Okay, man. Well, we got to do this all in 3 months before I go back to New York." And I thought that was going to be possible.
Right.
And he's like, "Okay, yeah, we'll definitely do that." And then I got fired from New York, and then spent the next 6 years doing 3 seasons of Dream Corp, which was like I think the most beautiful thing I've ever been a part of.
Nice. That's like
Yeah, that's the pinnacle.
Why? What was so? Talk about that a little bit.
It's basically about this doctor, John Grise, Dr. Roberts, who does dream therapy in this kind of dilapidated, broken down facility.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when he's doing therapy on you, you go into this gorgeous rotoscoped animation. So it was like live action mixed with this like beautiful, trippy animation that would explore themes like addiction and belonging. So it was really, I don't know. It's like, we really swung for the fences. It's not like silly, goofy, gross out like a lot of Adult Swim stuff. It's like really dense, and like, we've had people reach out to this day. It got removed from existence because anything beautiful in this world can't exist. But like Zaslav and Warner Brothers was like, we could save some insurance money if we just canned the show and scrap the car. And so that's what they did, which was really heartbreaking.
That's.
But still to this day, people are like, where can I watch it? It's like, I was so depressed and this show pulled me out. I mean, people say that about any piece of art, I guess, but
not every piece of art.
Not this podcast.
No one said it about this podcast. I was going to say, we haven't saved anyone yet.
Well, this is first season. This is season 1.
So this is season 1. Yeah. We got a ways to go.
Yeah.
We got 700 more episodes to figure it out. Yeah.
But I don't know, just because it felt special and, and I'm sure every crew and every set, or to some extent, could be like this or is like this, but it just felt very like it was such a family and we were so scrappy and did this weird thing that people connected with. So then we got to do it again. And then we're like, we're going to do it again. We got to do it again. And then like pandemic happened and then everything kind of fell apart.
Yeah. But it sounds like it was like very meaningful and a little bit sort of like the themes and the things it was exploring were sort of like resonant and meaningful.
Absolutely. And that's Danny. Cause if it up to me, it would be like all nut shots and like, like just silly juvenile shit. And Danny was really good and very thoughtful and Stephen Merchant, like that tall Office creator. So there's a better way to describe him. The comedic genius,
hilarious Stephen Merchant.
Hilarious, funny, smart guy.
Created the British Office. Life's Too Short.
Hello, Ladies.
Hello, Ladies. Yeah, he was great in Hello, Ladies. Yeah, very funny.
He's in
tall, blonde, hilarious British.
Yeah, he's hugely tall. He's in Hall Pass.
Oh, I haven't
seen it either.
Yeah.
But I noticed everybody's doing content now. Everybody's doing content. Stephen Merchant, who one time Danny asked him, like, do you know how much money you have? Like, do you have an idea? Because he created the British office, which means he also kind of created the United States office.
Yeah, he's getting.
And there's an Australian office. There's a Japanese office.
There's a German office.
There's a lot of offices that he's got a little piece of. And so Danny asked him if, like, very sincerely, do you know, like, what's in your bank account? Yeah. And he said, I have a general idea. Like, so he does not need more Instagram followers or another job. And yet he's like putting out content. Everybody's putting out content. And so one of them was a clip from Hall Pass, which I've never seen, but he's in it. And I was like, maybe I should watch Hall Pass.
We should check it out. Yeah. I think the content thing is there's a little bit of a feeling of like there'll be nothing left. Like when AI comes and takes everything, like all you'll have is maybe like your own face and your like ideas or whatever, So I feel like there's maybe a little bit of this idea of like, I've got to like create something that's only mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I feel the same way. I have my friend who's like not very online and very recently is just like, you got to make he's like, there's a number now. Yeah. It's your followers. And that's how much you matter.
Right.
And it's like, that's kind of been it for a while, but it really matters now. So he's throwing everything at the wall, like every, trope of video and online content.
Is he doing like YouTube stuff or like
it's mostly
TikTok or
reels and like stories? Yeah, it's mostly, but it's like I'm in my car and I'm going to talk directly to my phone because this thing just happened to me at the grocery store. And can we talk about people who don't return their cart? It's like just that stuff. And I'm like, fuck, is that what we're at now?
I don't know. I've dabbled. I've made like 5 TikTok videos and it's a very weird, I sort of swore, I think coming out of acting school in the 90s, it was like I had this very, what now is a very old school idea of what an acting career looked like. And I think I had this idea of like, well, I'm never going to be that guy that just like talks to a screen on YouTube.
I know.
I'd also watched this great, very funny improviser and comedian, Grace Helbig, who did improv and comedy with all of us at the Pit. And
I love Grace.
Yeah. And
she built her brand on like vlogging.
And she built her brand on vlogging, and watching her do it, it was like she made a video at 4 days a week without fail for like 4 or 5 years. And she was like, she's a beautiful, hilarious, talented person. And it was like, okay, this is what it takes to make it on social media.
It has to be your entire life.
It has to be your entire life. She was getting paid to do it, which I think was the way it worked, right? So it's like, how could I ever make a video every day for 5 days and I'm not beautiful and I'm not a young woman and I'm not, so I felt like she had all these things and I was like, all right, well, that's the standard. That's the only way it works. And I was just like, well, I'm never going to do it. I have to do it the traditional way. I got to like audition and get on the Law and Order. And then, like
do an episode of Boston Public.
But like turn my guest star into a co-star, and my co-star into a series regular, and I was just like, it's not for me. And now it just feels like that world maybe is changing. And so, I think its content is really like,
it really is.
And I think we're getting all red pilled by the social media that we watch.
What do you mean?
When I was on YouTube thinking about doing this podcast, I obviously was like, hey, like how to start a podcast or whatever, and then my algorithm on YouTube filled up with like, YouTube's on easy mode. This is the best time ever to start a YouTube channel. You don't even need production to start YouTube. It's so easy. And you start watching these videos and you're like, oh, I guess YouTube is easy. I guess I should start doing content.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like YouTube, not only is it the algorithm trying to gain just regular viewers, but if it can like red pill you into becoming a creator,
right?
Now you're like an employee of YouTube.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You're giving them content.
Now you're doing their job for them.
Yeah.
And all the social apps, TikTok, they all want you.
Right.
So, I think that as a society, those algorithms are like sophisticated enough that they're kind of like sucking us all in.
Us all in.
Yeah. And we're like, well, I guess I could get rich while making my podcast. Like, well, I'd be a fool not to do that.
Well, it's like, it's not, you would be a fool. And like, I'm doing, I started doing stand-up a long time ago and then you get busy and it just feels like, I don't want to drive to Santa Monica and do a 10-minute set. So you like lose that flame a little bit.
Yeah.
But now you're right. Like what's going to happen when people can just go into a movie theater and say, I want to watch a movie where Spider-Man plays my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I'm Dr. Magneto and
scan my face.
Yeah. And then you just watch that movie. Like, the only thing left is like going and seeing live performance.
Right.
And what makes that special is when you have a lot of people who want to come see you do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So then it's like, you've got to get that score up. You got to get that number up.
Yeah. Speaking of good neighbor, I noticed Kyle has started to make like Mooney's back on his YouTube channel.
Yeah, he's back on YouTube.
YouTube videos. And it's such what a crazy round. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
So I don't, none of us know it's impossible to know what the future of it is, but
you know what I really struggle with, and I was talking to Kyle about this recently, but I really struggle with like, what, I don't want to do that. Is that lame? Like, is this lame?
I know,
and like,
totally.
I think that's a really toxic, terrible way to look at anything. I mean, obviously you should have some sort of internal or external filter.
Yeah.
But for way too long, I haven't done a lot of things because I'm like, oh, it's kind of lame. And I don't want to do it because that person does it and that's lame when they do it.
Totally.
And it's just like, do it how you're going to do it and it'll be fine. And if it's lame, you won't like doing it and you'll stop doing it.
And you'll stop. Exactly. Yeah. It's weird. The internet is it's simultaneously like, oh, no one cares. You're kind of anonymous. You're lost in the sea. And then on the other side, it's like, well, it'll live there forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
every employer.
Once it goes out, you can never pull it back. So it's this real dual kind of thing where, you're like, well, I don't want to put anything out there that I'm not like proud of or whatever. But then you're just like, well,
you have
to look like an idiot online.
And also like, just in order to break through the noise, you kind of need a video. Like now my buddy's sending me like, here's how the algorithm works. And like nobody knows, but it's like, you have to kind of put stuff out. So then the algorithm picks you up and then starts feeding you to other people. And, you can't keep high quality for like doing that. So it's gotta be a lot of just like, bullshit that doesn't lose people, but keeps their attention, but like also is sustainable and doesn't take over your life.
Yeah.
This is why you got to move to Skagway and open a distillery.
Totally.
You don't have to worry about. All you got to do is to make X amount of bottles of gin a week.
You make your gin. You wait for tourist season. Yeah. You spend the other 9 months consuming social media, and then you make a show about your distillery. Yeah. And the whole thing. Yeah, the whole thing starts over again. Yeah, it's a weird time to be alive. Who knows where all this is, and a weird time to be a sort of like, a person whose job is to be in front of cameras and like create stuff. It's sort of like that's become everyone's job now.
Right.
And, you're just like, what is this? What is this anymore? It felt like, I think one thing about like speaking of smoking weed, where it was like smoking weed in the 90s, it felt like you were like a civil rights activist. You know what I mean? You were like, I'm standing up for something that's right by smoking this weed. Like I'm doing, this shouldn't be illegal. And then when it got legalized, it was kind of like, oh, well, this isn't as fun anymore.
I got to go to like an Apple store to buy
weed. Yeah.
To buy a pack of joints.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
Right. And it's almost like the same thing's happening a little bit with like creating content or whatever, where it was like, this used to be the top of the mountain. Like if I could get on TV or into the movies,
Right.
that was like the pinnacle of artistic creation, like in my childhood. And now there's this thing where it's sort of like, oh, that's just like a way of life where we're all in front of our cameras all the time.
We all have little TVs and we're all on them.
Yeah. And it is so weird. It
is bizarre.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Don't know where it's going.
Yeah,
don't know what
no,
to make
you
of
said
it.
something now. I've lost the thought. Maybe we can get there. Or
Yeah.
I don't know if you edit this, so this will be a kind of a slow part of the podcast.
We there's troughs and
dips,
valleys. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's slightly edited. I'm starting to edit it more because of YouTube. Because YouTube viewers want you to like get right into it.
Oh yeah,
The
you gotta
audio
hook
version.
'em.
The audio version is a longer form.
Right.
Like when my parents listen to this, they'll get all this.
Oh, they love it. Yeah, they're gonna get this.
They love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All my LSD stories, they're gonna hear all that. YouTube.
YouTube. Yeah, that's good. But they like that. Your parents, are they cool?
My parents are very cool.
Where do they live?
They're cool. They live in Ohio.
Okay.
Live in Ohio still. Yeah. Okay. So Dreamcore LLC, amazing.
Thank you.
And I want to say also, like, we're kind of talking about some of your big hits, your big like writing jobs and things like that. But I was checking out your IMDb and you've been acting constantly through all of this. You've done so many like cool movies. And,
Thanks.
like starred in some like great like indie stuff. You were in Brigsby Bear or like involved in Brigsby Bear. It was such a cool movie. There was a movie about swingers that you were the star of, or trying to find a threesome.
Oh yeah, the unicorn.
The unicorn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, feel free if there's like a project that I'm skipping over that you'd love to like name check that was super fun and you want to talk about.
I didn't know. I don't want to be the guy who's like, it's all boring to me. It's none of that special because I did it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to watch it. Like, what's the modern equivalent of, I don't want to be in a club that would have me as a member? Like,
yeah.
I don't want to watch a movie that has me in it.
as an
like,
actor,
why would anybody else want it? I don't know. Yeah, I did Drugstore June recently. I thought that was a pretty fun, like, movie with Esther Pavitsky and Bobby Lee and Haley Joel Osment, who got in a little trouble recently.
Oh, I did not know about that. What happened to Haley Joel?
He got a little wrecked at a mammoth ski slope and was arrested in the parking lot.
Oh, no.
Being a little unruly.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I hate to see it. Because he's a really sweet guy.
Yeah.
He's a really sweet guy.
The head weighs 8 pounds.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm sure that has chased him around his whole life. So I'm sorry. Haley
wait,
Joel.
is that a thing?
That was, I think, his line in, he got famous in Show Me the Money. What's that?
No, he got famous in I See Dead People. You're thinking Jonathan Lipnicki.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, you're thinking Jonathan.
I'm burning him with the wrong.
Yeah. Because I don't know what Jonathan Lipnicki is doing. Yeah, that's Show Me the Money.
That's Show Me the Money. What's the name of that movie? Do we know?
Yeah, it's a name of a agent, right?
It's not as good as it gets. Oh, it's Tom
Jerry
Cruise.
Maguire.
Jerry Maguire. Yes. Yeah. Great job. Good recall.
Never stop fucking me, right? That's from that too?
Yeah. I think so. All right, sorry. So Haley Joel Osment is
he's the Sixth Sense
I See
kid.
Dead People. Gotcha.
And he's done a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And he's super nice.
Yeah.
And everybody's gonna get wrecked here and
Everyone's gonna,
there.
You're gonna,
And you're skiing, you're gonna do that sober.
No, you can't do it.
Yeah,
you can't do it. Yeah. Last time I went skiing, I broke my wrist. I haven't been back on the mountain since then.
I'm not a very capable snow sports person in general, but every time I do it, I'm just afraid I'm gonna snap my knees. And I'm like, I don't need this.
I know.
I'll hang in the lodge.
Yeah.
I'll be down there with hot toddies and cheering everybody on.
I really love it and enjoy it greatly. And it's
now you can.
And now I can. I think there's a lot of things. Like breaking my wrist, and then I broke my shoulder playing basketball 2 years later. I just haven't had a good moment to get back on the mountain.
You're like Mr. Glass, another Shyamalan film.
Exactly. Yeah, Mr. Glass. All right, so tell us about this movie. What was the premise?
The premise is, it's kind of like a Seinfeld of movies. Like, not much goes on. It's kind of this do-nothing,
slice of life,
super millennial kid, Esther, plays June, works at a drugstore, and she kind of tries to solve a mystery in her town. But very indie, very Napoleon Dynamite vibes, Nice. Yeah, slice of life, just weird, obscure characters.
Yeah.
And I got to play, we rob a weed store that she's in. She's on the case trying to figure out who stole pharmaceuticals from her boss. And she's at this pot shop and we come in with guns and rob it. And then she sees our face. So we have to kidnap her and take her to the safe house. Yeah. So I got to be like a goon with a gun.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Super fun.
You're such a nice guy. I mean, you really would have had to dig deep into your acting bag to
Oh, once that camera turns on, I'm a chameleon.
Bad boy.
Yeah, I'm a bad boy. Yeah. But I mentioned it because the direct Esther and Nicholas Goosen wrote it together. But the fact that they made an independent film that's an original idea and got it done for somewhat cheap and it did well, I'm a big fan of independent cinema. And actually, if anything, the AI, the Marvel movies will all be AI and we'll all be in them, but maybe there'll be a renaissance of indie films.
I was just going to say that same thing. It feels like maybe we're due for a return to kind of, because, the big movies are just these huge Marvel spectacles. Yeah. And it's like that, we miss that.
And you know what's I also with all the trade war shit and Trump's idiocracy, we might lose China as an audience. Every movie they make in Hollywood, they're like, China better love it. And I think China might be like, fuck you. We don't want your Red Hulk anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that in a good way, we might have to forget about them as an audience. Right. And that will refocus the industry.
Yeah. Bring stuff back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The creators.
Or it just won't have to be these huge tent poles,
Yeah. That would be great. To back to a 70s kind of indie film world where there's just a lot of individual kind of creators and directors making their own stuff. That'd be great.
Or I don't even know when this would have been. I mean, I think it was Puffy Chair, those days.
Guys are great.
Was that 2000s, early 2000s when it was the
Duplass brothers.
Lena,
early 2000s.
That was a fun. I'd like to go back to then where you could just make a shoestring budget film and go to Sundance. And
if you were able to make a feature, it was you were a 1 out of 50 chance of getting.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was too. Because I watched their short. They had the short that put them on the map called I Am Sam. No, that's a different film. But something that's a different. They made I Am Sam.
It's not the Duplass brothers, but a great
I Am.
Yeah,
but it's something, and it's basically it's shot on a shitty VHS camcorder.
Yeah,
and it's a guy trying to record his outbound message, and it's a 7-minute film.
Right,
and it doesn't go anywhere. It's just him getting more increasingly desperate because he can't get it right, and that went to Sundance.
Yeah,
it started their career. It's oh, what?
I know all those things, those start out as these scrappy sort of indie things. And now they're just huge institutions. It's the Blacklist is the same way. Yeah. That used to be a thing that was kind of propping up the, indie scene. Yeah. And now it's just an establishment. Yeah. So there's got to be new versions of all that.
Did you get into Channel 101? Because this kind of came on my radar again recently. It's still going.
A little bit. That was sort of running concurrent. I was doing the New York Television Festival and stuff like that a lot right around there. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of the same thing. And everyone was talking about Channel 101, but I
think it was bigger here. I know it's in New York too now, but I remember it was a huge deal here.
Big in LA. Yeah. I was still in New York, I think, around that time. Yeah. But it's still going. So speaking of which, you're in the Dan Harmon universe now. Right, yeah. Rick and Morty and Krapopolis. Such cool shows. I love that. I love that world. How's it been working with Dan, working in animation?
I really like working with Dan.
Yeah.
I think he's obviously incredibly intelligent. And I think he sometimes resents that, which is a bit of a bummer. But he's very good at story. You pick up things from him. He's incredibly playful.
Yeah.
He can be moody, but we all can. I don't know. I think he's a great. I feel like people who haven't worked with him go oh, you work with Dan? How was that?
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of how is Dan? Because I think he has a really bad rap, and I didn't work with him in Community, and I think he got a really bad rap from that.
Right.
But I don't know. I never saw the thing that people are always oh yeah, but Dan is good. Dan. I was like, what do you mean? He's really smart and he can fix things if he wants to, and sometimes he doesn't want to, and he just doesn't show up. Yeah, okay, that.
Yeah.
But the guy, he's got a tunnel to dig. He's digging tunnels under his house.
Totally.
Yeah, he's a busy man.
He's a busy guy. Jess, my wife, we all know works on Rick and Morty, had that same thing. She was saying that working with him is sort of having a story, being in a story lecture, how to craft story. Yeah. Taking I'm phrasing this poorly, but a class. Of,
a master class.
And storytelling.
And so it's great. I mean, it's funny because I think people go, oh, Saturday Night Live, this guy can write under pressure. He can write on a timeline, blah, blah, blah. And then Harmon is okay, this guy knows story.
Right.
So you do these jobs that give you all these different arrows in your quiver. And
that's great. I mean, that's a really cool way to think about it. You're picking up a a skill or a craft.
Yeah, exactly.
With every job,
and whether you picked it up or not, people assume you have.
Yeah, virtually. Yeah,
exactly.
You get credit.
Right. Yeah,
you get credit.
It's like you took the college, even though you showed up stoned for every like ceramics class. Like people are like, "Oh, you have a ceramics degree."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should be like it goes without saying that if you have a ceramics degree, you were high.
Yeah,
for the
you're
whole
high.
thing.
Yeah,
you
that's
have a
part of
degree
it.
in stone ceramics.
The first thing you make is a pipe.
Yeah,
and then it's an ashtray.
Yeah, and then it's a thing to store your pipe and ashtray. Yeah. You're a character on Rick and Morty multiple times, but I feel like the one I sort of think of most is the one where you're the guy that has the portal in your leg.
Right.
Or you're on the other side of Morty's portal that's in his leg.
Yeah.
But you're called Nick. Like
it's Nick.
And they do the character looks just like you.
He drew it like me, and his name is Nick, and I voiced it.
Yeah. What a cool, that
was great.
How did that come about? Yeah.
That was... I can't take any credit for it, which I think is thank God. Because you imagine if I was like on the show and I was like, hey, what if the villain was me?
I mean, I assume that's how it happened.
I hate that people assume that. No,
you wrote the script and then you were like, I didn't even I would love to play this character.
No, I think like my final script for Rick and Morty, I read a character in the table read and was like, kind of like, hey, see, I could play it. And I think it was a bad move. I don't think I should have done that. It's like, we'll make those decisions, Nick.
Right. But just sort of be cool and let them offer it.
Don't try to be a triple threat here.
Yeah.
But I was out of the room, and Anne Lane was a great writer and a great friend. And they were trying to break this other story. I was out of the room writing my script. So I wasn't even in the room.
Yeah.
And we had a Halloween party like months before. And for Halloween that year, I was, those slow children walking signs?
Yeah.
It's like a green guy and he's holding a little flag and he's got a little hat.
Oh, wait. I just know the like street signs that say slow children.
Yeah, there's those. And then there's like you buy them at Home Depot or Walmart and it's like a cutout of a kid and it's like green. Like it's neon green and it's got a red flag and he's wearing a hat.
And yes.
So I was one of those guys. It was a costume that I had to constantly pull up reference photos to show people. I was
just going to say we had to get there.
You did have, and it helped. I just made it my background. So they'd be like, see this? And they'd be like, oh yeah, I've seen those driving through neighborhoods.
Right.
So I was that guy. So I was essentially in a green morph suit. And so we took a group photo and then there was this photo of me in this green morph suit on the wall. So I was just like my weird face, like sticking out of like basically a green portal. This is important.
Yes.
So then they're cracking this story, and the story is that Morty has portal juice on his hand, and he looks through it and sees somebody else who has portal juice on his leg. Right. And so now they make a connection, and they're like, who should that guy be? Should it be like a warlord? Should it be like this time portal? Like, like a wraith who can slide between dimensions? Like they were going real big and sci-fi.
Yeah.
And then Anne like pointed at the picture of me poking out of my little morph suit and goes, what if it was just Nick? And Dan goes, of course. It's got to be Nick. It's Nick. It's just like this shystery scam artist, like lunatic. Yeah, it's just like, it's terrestrial. It's not like we're going big. It's got to be just like this piece of shit con artist. And then like Anne called me that day and was like, I think you're the villain of the finale of season 6 now. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then I was.
Amazing.
Yeah, but I never got a Funko Pop.
You never got a Funko Pop?
I don't think so. I stopped looking.
Of yourself, you mean?
Yeah, they make Funko Pops for all of them.
Yeah. Oh my God, you got to get that.
I know.
I'm sure it's on eBay.
I know. Well, I don't know if they even made it, is what I'm saying. I don't know if it was like a 2-parter episode. And,
right.
And I think, maybe Funko was on the way down. Aren't Funko made out of like vinyl and it's the worst material?
Chinese vinyl.
Yeah, like Chinese PFC vinyl.
Yeah, fentanyl vinyl.
Yeah, it's like just they're not great. They'll be around longer than like cockroaches. It's like, maybe we should stop making these things.
Totally. They're like all of our bloodstream is like 0.01% Funko.
We're all little Funko now.
All little Funko.
They absorb like O2. Like,
that's right. Yeah.
They release chlorofluorocarbons. It's like, why did we make these things?
Yeah. I mean, I think if I feel like if it were my career, if nothing else ever happened, I could be like, I'm immortalized as a character. I mean, that'd be like if there was a Simpsons character that was you, that had your name, that you voiced.
Yeah,
I mean, that is like
incredible.
Yeah, you're kind of locked into the canon of sci-fi cartoons, sort of like in perpetuity. I would say.
I'm waiting for them to run out of storylines and be like, well, we got to bring Nick back.
Yeah,
and every so often it would come up in the room. We would try to figure out the big bad for an episode or something, because the way the character dies, he kind of like goes a portal in a portal, so he's just kind of like
sucked
into like nothingness.
Yeah.
So there was always this like, oh, he lives between portals. Like this guy is like a portal wraith, and he lives like he's kind of this like like the gremlin who gets electrocuted and then becomes pure electricity.
Yeah.
So it'd be like that. So there was always this But if it would somebody bring it up in the room, and then what am I supposed to do? Like support, so I just have to get really quiet. Like I think that's a good idea too.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that.
Yeah, exactly. But if I push it, it's like, gross. So like, somebody'd be like, oh, it could be Nick. Nick could be in between. And I would just like go get water. Like,
I'd be like, oh, I should step out of the room while you
exactly.
decide this. Yeah. That is a weird, I've always kind of been curious how like writers on SNL kind of like get into the cast, and then how you get to be a voice on Rick and Morty. I always assumed it was
It's always the people who don't want it, I feel like, too.
Which is such a tough thing because, it's just like what are the politics of actually getting to be a voice from a writer? It seems hard. It's like a hard needle to thread.
Yeah, I mean, it's like friendships. And like I said, I think if somebody is really itching to get that, it's kind of gross. And it's like, you already have a job.
Yeah.
But if it's, like Rob Schraub voices a lot of people, but he's always talking weird in the room. So like, you're just like, that's a fun voice.
Yeah.
Or like if you just nail a weird voice and like a table read, it's like, oh, well, it's got to be that.
You got to do it. Yeah.
But those aren't like casting sessions. It's just like, fuck, we need to hear this out loud. Nate, you play security guard 3.
Yeah.
And if you,
it's my big chance.
Yeah, exactly. No, I do feel that way because I want to do more voice. So I'm always like, okay, like, oh, okay. Yeah. It's like nobody cares.
Yeah.
The politics are like, don't be a dickhead. And if people like you, they'll throw you a bone, I think.
Totally. Yeah. It's so funny how being thirsty for stuff is such a turnoff for everything in life. It never ceases to disqualify you immediately from ever having
I know. But isn't it so funny? Like, why are we conditioned that way where it's like, if you really want something, don't show it.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Don't you want to live in a world where it's like, oh, that guy's the most excited about this, we should give it to him.
Totally.
Instead of like, whoa, why does he want it so badly?
I think it is because of that exact. First of all, I think there are some people who are really good at wanting something really sincerely, and then pursuing it in a way that like preserves their dignity.
Right.
I think there are people out there that like know how to, and they're those guys that like pursue, they're like, I pursued my wife for 3 years and finally she was the most beautiful cheerleader. And then we got married, it's like those 50 stories. And like now that's just like harassment or whatever.
Yeah,
like at a certain, like back then it used to be. So I think there are people that know how to do it. But I think it's because when you want something so badly, it demonstrates that you don't see it clearly because there is nothing in the world that is worth wanting so badly because you think it's going to cure all your.
Oh, interesting.
I think it disqualifies you because you can't see it accurately. You're not ready for it because you still think it's some great thing.
So if you are like, God, I want to be on Saturday Night Live, then it's like, well, obviously you don't know how
you don't know what it is.
So
you're not ready for it.
Interesting.
It's going to break you. Like you're going to get there and be destroyed by this thing because you think it's one thing and it's actually this other thing. And so like you've like demonstrated your not being qualified for it in a certain way,
I mean, I wonder if it's that makes perfect logical sense.
Yeah.
But that also doesn't mean that everybody has this like innate critical, hypercritical, judgmental mind that's like, he does, and also thinks everything sucks. Deep down thinks everything.
I think what it is I think what we're talking about is the difference between like 80% wanting something and 110% wanting something. And I think the people that get that, like, I think everyone that's auditioned for SNL obviously like wants it, right?
And didn't walk in and say like, what? Oh, is it audition today? I almost forgot.
So I don't think that they're just, I don't care about this at all. I think they wanted 80, 90%,
but they're not like,
they just don't have that desperation 10% that ruins it all, right?
You can go in it. Yeah, I totally agree. And the smart way to go into any of those is, I want this. I know exactly what it entails. I've prepared for this and I'm going to do good at it versus, please, I need this. Oh my God, if I get this, it'll change everything.
It'll change everything. This will like validate me.
I swear I'll do good.
Yeah. This will mean that I'm talented and mean that I'm funny. And it means, it's like.
Right. That doesn't instill confidence.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you don't have enough self-worth to know that you're like, So I think it's that kind of stuff. And I think it's the same thing when you like really have a crush on somebody, and you're just like, God, if I could only be with Jennifer, she's a goddess. And it's just like, dude, you're like,
you're worm.
You're the worst. You know what I mean? Like you want someone who's just like, I'm awesome. She's awesome. It'd be great if we were together.
I think she's really special.
Really cool. And like, I am too. And that's why we should be, you know what I mean? It's that difference of like, so I think that's why the universe like punishes you so severely for like wanting anything too desperately.
That makes sense. And then I think the overcorrection of that is also is also bad where you're where you're too cool for school.
Yes.
Because then it's like, well, do you want to be here, dickhead?
Totally. Yeah. I think you just have to sort of own everything. You have to like own that that's a big deal and own that it's a big break and own that it's important and own and understand that it's not going to solve all your problems.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which is hard. That's the harder thing to do.
Yes, definitely.
It's sort of like easier to freak out and be like, I got it. This means everything.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like pitching stuff around town right now, and which is somewhat, I've always kind of been employed for very long, so I've never had to do this, you know, and now I'm like, it's time to like level up a little bit. Like I should be doing my stuff.
Right.
And I am not very good. I don't really believe in any absolutes. So I'm more like well, I know what this is. And like, this could be good. It could be bad. Like, you know, I know like everything is multifaceted, and I find it really hard to like go in and be like, this is going to be the best animated show, you know, like, and you're not really supposed to do that either, but there's something, I exist too much in the like gray zone of like, you know, anything's a crapshoot. So, but you never know till you try. So why don't we try that? You know, and that's not what they want either.
Totally.
And I'm trying to like thread that needle of what is the attitude to go in.
Yeah.
And be sincere and not be like overselling and not undersell it.
Yes. I've only pitched a handful of shows, so I'm certainly no expert, but my vibe is that they want two things, and tell me if this is your experience. But one is for it to be very personal to you and very connected. And then the second is like, because of that, you're very excited. You really believe in it and are very excited by it.
I think that is...
I think that's kind of what I've seen.
I think you're right. I mean, they love personal because it means there's a well that you can keep going back to.
Exactly.
And there's a reason why you should be doing it.
Why you should be doing it, not someone else.
And it's important to you. So it's a huge, terrible slog to get anything done.
Yes.
So if you're not excited about it and if it's not important to you, how are we going to trust you to bring it across the finish line?
100%. Yeah. And we want, and your enthusiasm is infectious. Like, this is so funny. This is just like, I can't wait to make this.
Yeah,
like,
I see it. It's there. I know what this is. I'm so surprised it hasn't happened before. And they go, okay, I don't really get it, but he gets it. So yeah.
We had to start, and this was like coaching from our agent, but it was like all the pitches had to start with like a story about like how this idea came to fruition. And it was always like, my writing partner was like, I grew up in like rural West Virginia and these type of characters were everywhere. And I grew up with this guy and he sounded like this. And then they'd do you know what I mean? And so it was like, oh, it's connected. And then it's like,
I think that's really, I tend to go, we could cut the bullshit. Like, I'm not going to give you the fake sob story about why I'm the guy. You're like, but you can't cut the bullshit.
Yeah,
they want the bullshit.
Yeah. They want to show, they want to believe that. Yeah. Which is tough because you kind of want to just come in and level and be like, we've all been in this business. Like,
okay. Come on. If we get this done in a half hour, we can all go get a Jamba Juice. Yeah.
Just buy it in the room. We'll start making it. Yeah. We know it's going to change 1,000 times before it hits the screen anyway. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, this is not what it's going to be.
Yeah.
When I'm pitching you, it's going to change. Yeah. So why are we even spending time? Like,
right.
But yeah, I agree. You have to be excited about it. And I think the personal thing is really good. Like, I'm pitching this thing that's basically about truck stops, and I love truck stops, and I'm not a trucker. My dad wasn't a trucker, but I love road trips and I like truck stops.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's irrelevant. Who gives a shit? Everybody likes truck stops. And it's like, no, that's not true.
No, yeah.
That's, some people have never even thought about truck stops.
Totally.
Like, you need to start with that. Like,
totally.
These are magical liminal spaces where you can buy knives and CB radios. Like, and there's massage chairs and maybe a subway. Like, this is fucking on.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, just start with that. Like, because then you're on board. Like, okay, he's mystified about this. Great.
Totally. And they want to like you too.
Yeah,
exactly. They want to know you.
Because they got to work with you.
Yeah.
They want you to not be like, a dope.
Crazy. Yeah, totally. Well, that sounds like a great project.
Thanks.
And I hope that you sell it to 1,000 different
I hope so too,
bidding wars commence.
Yeah.
And who doesn't
It'd be fun.
truck stocks? Is there any, do you want to plug anything before we, is there anything people should check out? Do you want them to come to your Instagram page?
Yeah, I don't know when this releases. I don't know.
A couple weeks probably.
Okay. I'm doing like a festival and a show in New Orleans on May. Oh God. Can I look it up?
Yeah.
It probably doesn't matter, but vamp a little bit. 16. Okay. May 15th. 2 weeks, so it might be too late.
Oh,
but
nice.
May 15th at the Sports Drink, a new comedy club, which is great. And then the Bayou Boogaloo Fest the following night.
Nice.
Which is like a outdoor festival on like half grass, half like bayou. So people park their boats up. I'm very stoked
about it. That sounds awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's coming up.
What a life to live in a place where you could drive your boat to a festival.
Right.
I mean,
fucking
that'd
incredible.
be great.
I love the South. I mean, I don't really love the South, but I like New Orleans.
Yeah.
I don't like the South, what they stand for, their history or the people, but New Orleans is a good time.
Yeah.
No, there's great pockets of the South, and then the rest is garbage. Sorry. But yeah, that's coming up, and then I'm doing more and more stand-up, but I guess just check out in my Instagram, which is my name, Nicholas Rutherford.
Nice. We'll link to it and all that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. We'll link to it in the bios. Nice. I like to go out on the podcast with one good thing, and this is just anything in your life that like brings you joy or happiness. You're glad it exists. Hey, this is a great movie I saw. It's good. I heard this quote. I read this book. It's good. I had waffles the other day, and waffles are good, and I love waffles. It's a wide range. One good thing. Send us out on a positive.
Well, one good thing you had mentioned earlier about like, oh, I'm waiting for my life to start, and like, oh, I got to fix my life now. I have a kid.
Fix it. Yeah.
There's my therapist turned me on to this book called Meditations for Mortals. It's not meditations meaning like they're short essays. It's not about meditating at all.
Right.
And it was actually our last session, and she was like, I just came across this book, and she's like, you're fixed, but read this book. And she's like, I just think
this is the last session you went to, or it was the last session you're going to have with her?
I've been with her. We don't have to get in the weeds of it, but I'd been with her for like 8+ years, and I was like, I think it's good for me to get a second opinion.
Yeah.
Not because she was like, you're crazy, but I was just like, you know my tricks, I know your tricks. Let me get a new person in here that I can start clean. And she respected that. And so she was like, but before you go, you should read this book. And I think you should read it. And I love it. And at risk of distilling it down too stupidly, a lot of it is like, everybody's kind of waiting for the real life to start. And we go like, one day I'll get this, and then it'll start. Then I'll get off. And it's like, it's happening now.
Totally.
And it's really important to recognize that. And it's okay to move forward not knowing all the facts. It's okay to move forward with doubts. The difference between you and people who are very successful, I don't know why.
No, go on. You are accurately
the universal you. The people, the difference between us,
who successful people and Nate Williams,
is that successful people move forward without knowing all the answers.
Yeah.
I'm very analytical, so I'm like, I got to read all the reviews. Right. I got to run my 6 pitches, my 6 log lines by all my friends, and it's just pick one, move forward with it, and it'll take you a lot longer than ever trying to know exactly what to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. Oh, wait, what's the name of the book?
Meditations for Mortals. I can't remember the name of the author.
Yeah.
But he wrote another book, I think that was very popular, called 4,000 Weeks.
Okay.
But I didn't know about that book. But some people go, oh, it's that guy. Okay, yeah, I'll check it out. It's great.
I love it.
And it's like 3-page essays. You're supposed to read one a day. Super easy. Start your day with it. It's incredible.
Fantastic. What a great thing to kind of get your brain.
Yeah.
Brain going.
And
in the
it's just
morning.
you kind of just drop the weight. You're like, I just do what I need to do something, and that's what I'll do.
What does your therapist say about immediately waking up and grabbing your phone to check Reddit and the stock market? Is that?
Oh, that's bad.
Is that bad? That's bad.
Yeah. I'm so obsessed with like attention economy now.
Yeah.
Like I'm reading a book about like stolen attention, and the worst thing you could do is get your dopamine from your phone. First thing in the morning.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah.
You should get out of bed. You should not have your phone in your bedroom. We all know this. And you should have a like physical alarm clock. And the first thing you do should make your bed.
And then it's
dopamine release should be from an accomplishment.
Just a little win.
Just
get
a little
that
win.
one little win.
And then it's easy to stack them.
Nice. And then you're supposed to like, I've heard go on a walk, get a little exercise.
Yeah, get a walk.
Then I eat like coffee in like 90 minutes. Like,
coffee right later.
Away. Yeah.
Yep.
Easy, no problem.
Little walk, get some sun in your eyes, sun in your skin, reset that circadian rhythm.
We can do that.
I'm pretty good at it. I know it's antithetical, but I have to talk to an AI to open up certain apps. So I'll go to Instagram, and the AI will be like, did you really want to open up Instagram? And I'll be like, yes. I'll be always on the toilet. I'm like, yes, I need to check my messages for business. You have to check your messages for business. I go, yes, I just need 10 minutes to check my message for business. I go, okay. And then it unlocks it. So my screen time is way down, but most of it now is talking to this AI and is lying to a robot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Lying to a robot while you're shitting.
While I'm shitting, yeah. And then I scroll through and I get mad and I think I'm nothing and I'm like not working hard enough and I get pissed and I go, what am I doing? Get out of there.
The AI's like, I told you so.
I told you, idiot.
I told you.
How was your business, Dr. Poop?
Yeah. It'd be great if it could know what you were doing. And then it could be like, is this business?
It's too easy to trick. That's like my one feedback of it is it should be like, you just checked your business messages an hour ago.
Yeah.
I think it's going to wait a day.
Yeah. I'm looking at your email now and there's no new business coming
You're
up.
fine.
Yeah. That'd be great. I've never heard of that application for AI though, but I'm very curious.
It's called Super Happy, and it's fine.
Oh, nice.
It's fine.
Nick Rutherford, thank you so much for coming on the show,
Nathan,
man. This has been an absolute pleasure.
My pleasure, buddy.
I hope you come back and do it again. We've got lots to talk about that we didn't get to. So
Totally.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
I'd like to begin with a fact.
So deep. So deep.
Or in Chicago, New York, or Los Angeles.
You have to go deeper, I think.